Give me a 3, give me a 2, give me a 1. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. It is another AlphaStar cast. Now, for the YouTube audience out there, I'm actually streaming this one live on Twitch. My good friend Parting, Big Boy Parting, just hosted the channel and has forced me to stream a little bit longer. So we're going to host an AlphaStar cast to fill that time. And I asked Parting, what match do you want to see? And Parting said he wanted a PvZ. So, with the Protoss version, here to the top left, the red AlphaStar. And the very human opponent player to the bottom right, the blue Zerg Grandmaster player. Now, real quick context for this, everybody. Deepmind recently released all these replays. I'm not going to bother doing the checks and whistles to prove that this is AlphaStar because this comes directly from Deepmind. These replays are public. You can double check them if you'd like. There's a whole blog post up about it, etc. But one thing they appear to have done is they've gone through and they've edited out any text mentioned in the game. This is probably a smart move because I'm sure there's some salty people who have lost AlphaStar on the ladder, but they've also edited the names. So this is not me changing it to Grandmaster player. This is how the replay is received. We don't know the identity of the Zerg player. We just simply know that they're a Grandmaster ranking Zerg player. We also know that most of these games come from Europe. I don't know that AlphaStar was on any other region. I think it did a little stint on North America, if I'm not mistaken, but regardless, AlphaStar in her full glory, taking on a Grandmaster Zerg player. Now, AlphaStar, it's got a lot of versions of itself. You can see here by the fact that this is King's Cove, and I'm recording this on October 30th, 2019. This has been out of the map pool for a while now, which is sad to say. So it is an older version of the game, but I don't think it'll change the dynamic of human versus machine too much, because this isn't like a replay from a year ago. This is just a replay from earlier this year. But our Zerg player taking 3 bases very quickly. Not super greedy. I mean, if we went 3-hatch gas pool, then we're talking greed. But getting the 3rd base up, as you would hope and as you would expect. Back on the other side of the field, AlphaStar setting up a pretty decent wall at the front. And honestly, it baffles me because I've played against like the insane mode AI and the default artificial intelligence machines that Blizzard has built into Starcraft. They're nothing like this. They don't follow any kind of build order that makes any sense. They sometimes cheat with their minerals if you set that to mode. What they don't do is look like a human player. And just the way AlphaStar builds when they're not playing Terran makes them look like a human player. And it's kind of cool, but kind of scary at the same time. Either way, we do have adepts starting to transfer around and poke on the map, so that probe was a nice initial scout, but this adept's going to get a good eye on what this looks like following it up. A big fear, of course, is that AlphaStar may end up going for something like an all-in, so that's something the Grandmaster player will have to look out for as well, as they are scouting on the other side of the map. But I think when it comes to PvZ nowadays, you're more likely to see the Zerg player get all in with roaches than necessarily a Protoss player with like charge lots or adepts. Even though those are both totally on the chopping block and up for, I don't know, anyone to grab, including AlphaStar. Question being asked in the chat, though, dear YouTube, so I'm going to fill in Twitch on this one. It says, what about playing Terran makes it not look like a human player? If you watch any Terran AlphaStar cast out there, or replay, it doesn't SimCity well. For whatever reason, it really has trouble putting tech labs in locations that aren't going to cause chaos. It has really awful wall-off capabilities. It's pretty obvious when AlphaStar is a Terran because the buildings are just all over the place and make no sense. But when it's Protoss, as you can see, the SimCity is actually a really important part of playing Protoss. For Terran, building placement isn't nearly as important. So it makes sense that AlphaStar would teach itself, basically, to learn to wall off better and to place its buildings more efficiently as Protoss. But, you know, those adepts now, a little bit of damage from Oracle. This is 10 workers killed so far. Not bad for AlphaStar. This other Oracle should be able to defend the Nexus. It's getting a little bit low, of course, but, yep, pushes it off with the Oracle, no problem. And she manages to just continue doing her own thing. 3rd Oracle on the way. 3 Oracles is something human players do. Anything more than that tells me this is a weird AlphaStar build, but we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. There's 3 Adepts paired with this at 2. Oh, wow, this attack could actually hurt a lot, because Grandmaster player here, they've been droning up a lot. They don't have a lot of army units to work with right now. The Adepts could slip past the Queens, or maybe all 5 units combined could kill the Queens. I don't know, but this is probably going to result in some worker deaths. Another Oracle at home to defend. A 4th one in production as we speak. And just blitzing down the drone line. Oh man, these Adepts are not fun to deal with. 15 workers dead. Oof, 16 workers dead. And there's, I guess Ling's receiving them over here to the natural base. So that gets cleaned up a little bit. The Oracles don't seem to have a lot of energy, so they don't have a lot of staying power. What they do is zap down a couple more drones. 22 workers killed now, bringing the Zerg player down to 42 total with 8 more on the way. But the big thing about this is because our human player is investing in remaking all these drones, none of that larva is going towards any kind of army unit. So AlphaStar doesn't need to scout to know that there's no big attack coming. The damage done is going to either force the human player to play a really horribly weak all-in or to just drone. Either way, neither results in a counterattack. So these 4 Oracles, which look a little odd, I'm going to be honest, but 4 Oracles going to be able to start placing down some stasis wards or just be used for raw damage going forward. Either way, AlphaStar playing against the Grandmaster player can't slack off because even though it's gotten some early game leads, AlphaStar still hasn't won the game yet. Immortals coming out next, +1 weapons. Even the Twilight Council, so we're likely to see charge lots too. Starting to throw away some of the units. These Adepts are not being as effective as the first ones were. I think paired up with the Oracles could be, but... driven off once again. Pretty good creep spread out of our human player, despite all the action and distraction. Oh my god, you can't spell distraction without action. It makes so much sense, Starcraft. But, sorry, mind-blowing revelation aside, the creep spread's been pretty good, so it's a lot of vision to see when these attacks are coming. At some point, AlphaStar is going to be revealed at about 50% way on the map, and that's actually that's a big difference on even being able to build units to react to this in time versus placing them in position. Oh wow, that just deleted that Queen. Now the Oracles are dedicating a little bit much. On the other side of the field, AlphaStar used a hallucinated Archon. That was kind of cool. It soaked up a lot of damage, but ultimately this holds. But to be clear, I think the difference is without that hallucination, I think both sentries die instead of one. That was a really cool move. I mean, I've been sitting here yearning for players to use hallucinations more, and that was a really, really good use of hallucination. I like it. Fourth base getting set up. I mean, it's 4 bases for Zerg already, of course, if you've been paying attention to the map. Don't really need to point that out, but Disruptor play is going to be really nice for some big explosive shots. Always game-changing moves coming out of Disruptors if they land just right. You got Infestation Pit coming up too, halfway done. That'll lead to a quick hive, and we'll see what that leads into. Probably Spire, probably Broodlords is the guess. And that charge was a long time coming, but charge nearly completed now with that Chrono Boost, +2 being pumped out too. So a big warp-in wave of Zealots is going to be really powerful. If AlphaStar scouts and sees air, it may swap over to Stalkers. Having +2 Stalkers is going to be really good for that too. Either way, the tech is there. The groundwork has been laid out, and AlphaStar, yeah, I don't know. This is an interesting game. AlphaStar was ahead for a while, but I'd say this is really evened up at this point. Ten Ravagers on deck. I don't know how much I love this investment. Corrosive Vials are always going to be really powerful, especially if you're anticipating things like force fields getting in your way, but I think right now what I'm curious about is where the gas comes from and what it gets invested into. Because for our Grandmaster player, obviously they're floating like 2,000 minerals, and that's kind of insane. But if those 2,000 minerals are to supply Nidus Worms and... oh, what's going on here? A little bit of lag? Cool. Apparently you can lag in replays. That makes sense. Anyways, we got a Nidus Worm coming up, and maybe Floods Lings, maybe Floods Queens. Either way, about 1,400 minerals. That's a lot of Nidus Worms. That's a lot of potential damage. Really good Revelation to tag the Queens, but doesn't get deep enough to see the Nidus Worm. And AlphaStar has not done something a lot of Terran players do, or not Terran, human players, which I guess is technically Terran players. No Phoenix, clean up these Overlords. So our human player actually has a lot of good vision on very premium Nidus Worm locations. So whether it's from far away and Swarm Hosts come out, or whether it's directly into the main base, There's Nidus Swarms, there's Swarm Hosts, there's lots of units on the field to worry about. But AlphaStar's going for an attack down the middle. And let me tell you, with 3 Disruptors and good control, this army of Grandmaster players is screwed. Like, I really confidently feel these Disruptors only need, like, half-assed shots to kill a majority of these Ravagers. In fact, oh, good example right there. Corpses go flying. There's a DT or 2 in the mix, and there's no detection. And while a Nidus Swarm is built, there's no actual Nidus Swarm coming out. I guess there's nothing to really go inside of it, so it makes sense. Lanes to the natural, lanes to the main. But no damage is really being done. I mean, a couple of probes dying, sure, but AlphaStar's on like 77 workers. It can more than afford to lose a couple of these probes. I think the throwaway with the Ravagers there was pretty poor. Bad decision, because it didn't really... It was a fight to fight. It wasn't a fight that accomplished anything. Let's say, hypothetically, those Ravagers had actually gotten through the army and wasn't awkwardly running away. They're what? Attacking the 4th base? You know, AlphaStar's got another one on the way. Who cares? Like, that really was not a great attack. The Locusts come out for the defense. This should hold the first wave. But once those Locusts wear out, or the Disruptor takes them out, this army of the Protoss players on +2 weapons coming in with a lot of Stalkers, warping in some DTs here, too. Not even needing a lot of Archons, just needing a lot of damage. And those Swarm Hosts are on cooldown. A huge wall of Spine Crawlers. The Great Wall of Spina. But this is still not going to stop this army. Not this size, not this magnitude. There's 102 army supply for Zerg, but most of it's on cooldown for half the fight. New wave of Locust comes in, but the Protoss players still just holding firm. And despite all of those extra Spine Crawlers, there's still no detection for these DTs. A huge misstep here from the human. Hallucinated Archons make this a headache too to target down what priority targets are here. There's a fake Colossus that's getting targeted by these Locusts. Oh my god, can people start using hallucinations? This is so sick. So many of these Locusts from the human player are hitting the wrong units. They're wasting their very precious small time life attacking hallucinated Colossus and Archons. This is brilliant. This is clever. Taps out. GG, ladies and gentlemen. AlphaStar will be your champion. And make sure, if you like this video, to like the video, leave me a comment in the section down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.